everyone! Alright, so we are doing Regency Love episode, 5 now, I think? I have no idea. I'm not paying as much attention as I should, clearly. So, in our last episode, I may have made a grave error, and I may have ruined my relationship with Mr. Ashcroft. I truly have no idea. So, we'll see. Maybe I can fix it. Maybe I can fix it in this episode. Maybe I can fix it. So, let's try to fix it, all right? Let's see. All right. So, no. Here we go. I remember where we were now. Okay, so Ellie called us in because there was trouble brewing. There was a fight happening between her brothers. We went to the house. We probably should not have done that. It was their personal family business. And then we talked to Mr. Ashcroft, and he was like, "This is all your fault." And she was like, "What?" Because truly, she had nothing to do with this. So, the younger brother went and joined the army. So we're now going to go find Colonel Watson and see if we can find out where the brother went. All right, Birkenbridge. You're greeted by the housekeeper of Birkenbridge. After you introduce yourself and explain you have urgent business with Colonel Watson, the housekeeper shows you to the sitting room. Shortly after Colonel Watson enters the room, he appears a little surprised to see you. Miss Fairfield, I confess I had not expected any callers. I apologize for my rude intrusion, Colonel Watson, but I am here on behalf of the Ashcroft family. May I ask, is Mr. Richard here? Yeah, that seems like the polite thing to do. Yes, he is here indeed, Miss Fairfield. Do take a seat and make yourself comfortable. Sarah, please fetch some tea and scones and ask Mr. Ashcroft to join us in the drawing room. Okay. The maid disappears with a curtsy. Soon after, Mr. Richard Ashcroft arrives. He is clearly surprised by your presence, but quickly masks it and vows to address you. Miss Fairfield, I did not expect to see you. If my brother has sent you, then I am afraid your words will fall upon deaf ears. Your time is better spent elsewhere. My boy, are you being impertinent to Miss Fairfield? Is there something that requires my attention? Colonel, I'm afraid this is a rather delicate family matter. I'm sorry that you have been unwittingly involved. With all due respect, Colonel, I must insist on speaking to Mr. Ashcroft alone. Hope you will forgive me for my bluntness and for rudely intruding upon your home. That seems like the wrong thing to do in the Regency era. So, yes, I understand. I hope you will resolve your differences. And Mr. Ashcroft, I expect to be informed about the situation. As you wish, Colonel. Colonel Watson gives you a perfunctory bow and leaves the room. Mr. Richard Ashcroft, I can't speak today, begins to pace the floor before he stops abruptly and turns to you. I apologize for my rudeness, Miss Fairfield, but I must be honest. I must reassert that you will not convince me to rescind my decision. On the contrary, I wish to offer you my support. I would never presume to advise you on how you choose to live your life. Then what is the reason for your being here? Although Mr. Richard Ashcroft appears to remain unaffected, his tenseness in his stance betrays his anxieties. His careful nonchalance resembles that of his brothers. I do not agree with your brother on the account of your freedom. If you wish to join the army, then so be it. You should not allow anyone to prevent you. Despite what you may say, I believe you have the utmost respect and admiration for your brother. His disapproval weighs on you more than you care to admit. And what would you have me do? Return to Thornley and speak to your brother, not as a petulant child, but as a man. I will accompany you if you wish. Cast away your high regard for him. It is time you think... for you to think and act for yourself. But if I want to put the family back together, maybe the first option. I suppose you're right. I apologize for behaving in such a manner. You have no need to apologize. You are simply following your will. That is not a crime. I'm glad to hear you will attempt to make amends and that you will not abandon your family. Let us set out at once, then. I must speak briefly with the Colonel, but I will meet you presently after. Thank you for talking so sense to me, Miss Fairfield. You must think very poorly of me, but my opinion of you is at its highest. Let us depart. Did I fix it? Thornley, Mr. Richard returns. You accompany Mr. Richard as he returns to Thornley. The household stills momentarily upon your arrival, before announcing that Mr. Ashcroft is in his study. Mr. Richard appears to be somewhat chastened and uncertain. Do not be disheartened. You must remember what is important to you, Mr. Richard. You have nothing to fear, Mr. Richard. Your brother will treat you as an equal if you behave like one. I know it in my heart. Then perhaps you know him better than I do, Miss Fairfield. As you walk through the corridors, you notice the staff giving Mr. Richard encouraging nods. For you, they offer small smiles of appreciation. You arrive at Mr. Ashcroft's study to find him standing by the window. He seems to find little comfort from the view and appears to be exhausted. Mr. Ashcroft? Let's be gentle. Mr. Ashcroft. Mr. Richard hesitates, then draws a deep breath. Marcus, I wish to speak and to be heard. Mr. Ashcroft appears to be affected and requires a moment to school his expression. Richard, it is good to have you back. I hope you are here to stay. At his brother's words, Mr. Richard appears uncertain once again. He looks to you for the support you have promised. Mr. Ashcroft, I hope you would listen to what your brother has to say. He is here on his own behalf, and if he chooses to stay, then it will be on the same terms. I am quite aware that I have no business in this, but I cannot remain silent, Mr. Ashcroft. I insist that you consider your brother's words. His intentions may not align with yours, but you must understand that he is not you. Boy. Forgive me for my boldness, Mr. Ashcroft, but I think you would find some merit in allowing Mr. Richard to express himself. You are too much of a gentleman to do otherwise. Oh gosh. Which one of these is going to save our relationship? This is so hard. Maybe this one. Oh gosh. Maybe not that one. Oh boy. Okay. So not my first choice. Okay, let's do the one where we call him a gentleman. And you have too high an opinion of me. You have found yourself quite an ally in Miss Fairfield, Richard. Say what you must. Thank you, Marcus. After a slight pause. I am much indebted to you. You had no obligations to raise me as you did, and yet you chose to embrace me as your brother. But my gratitude and affection for you will not influence my decision. I have long wished to join the regiment, even before meeting Colonel Watson, and I believe it will suit me. I do not have the affinity for my studies. Too often I feel stifled and suppressed in the classroom. I have a desire to learn, but about the real world in its many ways. I understand you have concerns about my welfare, but I am also adamant about my decision. This holds great importance for me, brother. I wish you could see it. I do not wish to lose my family. You and Ellie are the dearest people in my life, but I also cannot compromise my own aspirations. You must understand this. There's a long pause after Mr. Richard's speech. Mr. Ashcroft's eyes are thoughtful, though you detect the slightest hint of fear. Richard, we're at war. Your life will be at stake. I know, but I wish to fight for my country, for my family. You must allow me to do it, otherwise my conscience will be at stake. The room is engulfed by another silence, this time lengthier, though not as wrought with tension. When Mr. Ashcroft speaks again, his voice has lost its stale edge. Did Miss Fairfield advise you on what to say? No, but she did say I should take responsibility for myself and not speak to you as a petulant child. Oh, and you heeded her words? My dear brother, I do recognize wisdom and grace when I am in their presence. The atmosphere in the room has lightened significantly, and the two brothers are more at ease, though unspoken words still remain between them. I recognize when my presence is no longer required. I know you two have a great deal to discuss. Thank you, Miss Fairfield. You have been extraordinarily kind. Mr. Ashcroft does not address you, but you feel his gaze following your retreating figure. Soon after the study door closes behind you, you hear soft, muffled voices. You can catch the last syllable of your name, and you are certain Mr. Ashcroft had been the speaker. I got, no motivation from either of those things that I've just done, so I don't know if I've fixed things or not. More news from Ellie. Another letter arrives from Ellie. Dear Catherine, I hope this letter finds you well. It has been 2 weeks since I last saw you, and I hope you are in good health. I am sorry not to have written earlier. I have penned several letters to you, but none of them seemed to be sufficient. I found myself either sounding too sad, too hurt, too hopeful, too polite, or too frank, and now I know not what remains appropriate. It doesn't help that I have not left the house since we last met. I know that my eldest brother is afraid illness will befall me, particularly as I have been very tired, but I do long for some fresh air at times. What I have hoped to convey in this letter and in all the previous ones I have drafted is my sense of gratitude towards you for bringing Richard home. He speaks very highly of you, and although my eldest brother is more reserved, or perhaps simply very stubborn, I feel Marcus thinks the same. You have perhaps exchanged some harsh words, but I have hopes that one day an understanding will be reached. Thank you for being such a good friend to me and my brothers. Perhaps my eldest brother does not appreciate the full extent of your concern, but it has not gone unnoticed by the younger Ashcrofts. Yours, Ellie. Okay. Oh! Look! Ah! Okay. An unexpected visitor, Mr. Ashcroft, wishes to make amends. Yes, I fixed it. Okay. Miss Fairfield, I am glad to see that you look well. Thank you, it is nice to see you again. You look a little tired, Mr. Ashcroft. I hope you're not unwell. Should do something about the bags under your eyes, Mr. Ashcroft. And I trust Mrs. Fairfield is in good health too? Yes, Mama is quite well, thank you. I recall speaking to your mother at Mr. Worthington's ball, where she told me of her fondness for strawberries. We have a little patch at Thornley, and I hope you won't think it too forward of me to have picked and brought some. Oh, that's so sweet! You're too generous, Mr. Ashcroft. There's no need. Oh, are you attempting to win back my affection with fruit from my mother? Not at all, okay? You're too generous. Oh, but there is. You're both silent for a while until the room begins to become a little uncomfortable. Oh, we're inside? It looks like we're outside. But okay, whatever. Remain silent. How is Ellie? She wrote me last week and appeared to be rather distressed. Have you thought a little more about Mr. Richard and where you stand on his decision? Oh, boy. And it is my fault entirely. I have granted her more freedom since, as is befitting of a young woman her age. I am ashamed of my treatment towards you, Miss Fairfield. You have been nothing but caring towards my family, and I was unforgivable in the way I have spoken and behaved. It is not me to whom you should apologize, but your siblings. You require no forgiveness for carrying out your responsibilities. Not many have been given the burden of losing one's parents and acquiring one's siblings as a sole caretaker. That is so true, though. You were simply doing what you thought was right, Mr. Ashcroft. It is not a sin to love and be protective of your family. I am in great awe of your intelligence and common sense, Miss Fairfield. If you still wish to remain in my company, would you perhaps consider joining us for dinner tomorrow evening? Ellie misses you, and I suppose she is not the only one. How could I possibly refuse when you have come in person to issue your invitation along with treats for my mother? Yes, I would like that very much. Thank you for your kindness. I have missed your company too, Mr. Ashcroft. Mr. Ashcroft smiles a little shyly. I will send Oliver in the carriage if I am not being too forward. No, you're being pretty dang forward, not gonna lie. I look forward to tomorrow. On the contrary, you are being considerate, as you always have. Thank you, Mr. Ashcroft. Thank you for being so understanding. You are a true wonder. Okay. Oh, Thornley. Dining with the Ashcrofts. You have been invited to dine with the Ashcrofts, which will hopefully be a pleasant affair. Catherine, it is so good to see you at last. I'm glad to see you are more spirited than in your letter. No, the letter was weeks ago. Thank you for your willingness to brave another possible adventure with us Ashcrofts. It is a relief to see you so well. One needs to fulfill their need for adventure somewhere. Catherine, did your mother enjoy our strawberries? I hope they were not damaged on the ride. So you did have a hand in your brother's gift. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, they were delicious. Mama is most grateful for your kindness. I'm sure you meant to say my brother's kindness. Mr. Ashcroft clears his throat, none too subtly. Shortly after, dinner is announced. Although Ellie and Richard appear to be a little more subdued than usual, there is a glow of relief around them that speaks of their present well-being. That's nice. Mr. Ashcroft also seems a little more relaxed since your last meeting, though he seems to be taking pains not to look at you directly. Catherine, if the weather continues to hold, I was wondering if you might like to accompany me on a little walk around town in the next week. I see you did not feel compelled to ask Mr. Ashcroft for permission. No, she is a grown woman. Gladly, I believe a stroll would do us both a bit of good. And just last week, my dear sister would have asked me to be her companion. Alas, my place has been uprooted. Well, you have been my companion for quite a few years, so I suppose it is poor Catherine who is at a disadvantage. I shall concede to that, but only because in fear that Miss Fairfield will reprimand me otherwise. Rightly so. I'm glad to see you have acquired a little wisdom after all. Oh my gosh! You know, I would never do such a thing. Or perhaps not while you were in the presence of others, lest you be too humiliated. As dinner continues, you find yourself settling back in to the easy conversation and company of the Ashcrofts. Mr. Ashcroft says very little, but this, too, is familiar. Upon completing your meal, Mr. Richard and Ellie excuse themselves. You are left alone with Mr. Ashcroft, who invites you to sit with him in the drawing room. Need the points. The Regency period saw the British engage in a series of warfare against the French conqueror. Oh, it was Napoleon. Okay, where are all the letters? There we go. I love Napoleon. Just saying. Such a cool dude. You sit in the drawing room, which has been warmed by the evening fire, which crackles quietly. The room is still, and your voices, although low, seem rich and resonant. Miss Fairfield, I hope you will forgive me for my recent behavior. My manner to you has been appalling. I know I have caused you harm, and I wish I had managed the situation in a more appropriate manner. Your only fault has been to love and care for your siblings more than their due. As follies go, yours is quite forgivable. Do not apologize on my behalf to Mr. Ashcroft. It is your siblings for whom I am been most concerned. Truly, I am relieved to hear your words. I have found the past week difficult to say the least. No, you're fine. When all is said and done, you simply care for my brother and sister, as if they were your own. You are to be applauded and not treated with such rudeness. Yeah, come on. Okay, anyway. You sit a little longer in silence while Mr. Ashcroft appears to be searching for his next words. Miss Fairfield, forgive me for trespassing upon your kindness once again, but please allow me to be bold. I think you are a remarkable woman, and you deserve great happiness in your life. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I am touched by your regard, Mr. Ashcroft. I hardly know what to say. Then you would do well to ensure you are never so uncivil to me in the future. As do you, Mr. Ashcroft. You have suffered enough. I only wish you to be happy. That is quite a relief to hear. Thank you. Once again, Mr. Ashcroft insists on accompanying you to the gates. That's nice of him. When you reach the gates, Mr. Ashcroft helps you onto the carriage and softly bids you goodnight. Well, we're not going to have any, ungloved hand shenanigans. Oh, we are! The warmth of his hands on yours remain with you through the journey home. The hands. Alright, I need to, really ramp up my things here, so let's get some points. Yes, that's right. Okay. We need points. That was it, huh? Okay, well. Silhouette or... Yeah, probably silhouette. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so let's visit town with Ellie, but first let's see how many points we have. Oh, good, we have some points. Yes. Okay. Catherine, you appear to be a great deal happier since you were last at Thornley. I confess your travels have affected me greatly. I feel much more at ease knowing both your brothers are well. Yes. Oh, my poor Ellie, I have been rife with emotions over the past few weeks. I am so pleased that all is well with your family. My dear Ellie, you should speak for yourself. It has been a while since you have seemed in such high spirits. I suppose you're right. I owe a great debt of gratitude, dear Catherine. I do not know what might have happened had you not come to our assistance. Well, let's see. Mr. Ashcroft probably wouldn't have been so dang angry at us, so that would have been different. Mr. Ashcroft was right about one thing. I was the one who enabled an introduction between Mr. Richard and Colonel Watson. It was my responsibility to see things right. Then I shall collect such a debt at another time, when my pantry is nearly empty, perhaps. Speak not of it, dear Ellie. I am simply happy that all your siblings are well. But let us speak of more pleasant matters. Are there any particular shops you wish to visit? I have no preferences. And how about yourself? Do you have anything in mind? I can never resist a trip to the haberdashers. Why, I would like to visit them all. If it is not too much trouble, could we call in Mr. Murray? I would like to look at a few dresses, if you would not mind. Of course. Actually, Catherine, I have been considering the possibility of coming out to society in the upcoming season. Whoa, good for you! Though I do not particularly wish to go to London. Perhaps you might consider being presented right here in Hertfordshire, in the comfort of your own home. Then we shall hold a ball in your honor at Thornley. Oh, it would be marvelous. Wait. Do you suppose my elder brother might consent to having Thornley's ballroom transformed into one fit for a debutante? I don't see why not. This is the first thing on here. I don't see why not. Your circumstances mean an informal debutante would not be ill-suited, and if you wish, you may be presented at court at a later stage. I would say, from what I know about his good character, that he would have no objections whatsoever to such a proposition. I could accompany you in bringing up the subject of them together. Okay, let's see. And you do not think my request might be untimely given the horrible disagreements we've suffered? Not at all. There will be so much to do. Decoration, fittings, and invitations to be sent out. Oh, it would liven things up indeed. On the contrary, I think preparations for holding a ball would help strengthen your family bond. You're such a sweet girl to be so considerate about your brothers. I assure you, a ball in your honor would only serve to assist in the healing. Thank you so much for your kindness, Catherine. Oh, I am comforted indeed. I am resolved to speak to my brother about this tonight. It is so good to think about such happy and exciting events. I'm so fortunate to call so many wonderful people my family and friends. Perhaps we might find a suitable dress of the latest fashion at Mr. Murray's. Yeah, let's go shopping. Why aren't they giving me any points? Come on. Points. Well, let's do this one then. Alright, you begin with some general exercises to warm up your voice. Sometimes it can get a little shaky if the air is a little cold. While you're warming up, you notice a movement on the windowsill. It is Lord Fat Cat, and he has situated himself comfortably for your impromptu performance. Once you feel you are ready, you decide to sing. Oh my goodness, I get to choose? Lord Fat Cat swings his tail to the song. He could very well conduct the orchestra required to accompany you. That's so cute! When you finish the song, Lord Fat Cat purrs in appreciation. You have become quite a talented musician. Do so give another. Oh, that's so cute. You sing a song from Moore's Irish Melodies. That actually sounds lovely. Lord Fat Cat taps a paw against the window in time with your song. He cares not for Irish politics, but it is a patron of the Irish arts. Lord Fat Cat rises to his feet when you have finished, nods at you, and leaves the room. You have done very well in cultivating your musical skills indeed. Hi, kitty. You wanna come say hi? Oh, we were just talking about kitties. Yeah. Yeah, hi, kitties. Oh. What a good boy. Okay. Back down we go. Alright. Yes, points. Her spirits wanted the solitude and silence which only could give. I don't remember. What is this word? I didn't choose E yet. Oh my gosh. Numbers. I forget what that's from. Okay. Alright, everything's at 57. I feel like I'm coming to the end of the Ashcroft storyline, but like I haven't gotten my skills very high yet. I mean, like I'm above the like 50% mark, but still. Give me all the points. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, there's like nothing else right there. Yeah, okay. You are Ellie? No. You and Ellie have agreed to go for a walk in the woods. You suspect she will tell you about Mr. Ashcroft's decision about the ball. Let's go! That is a lovely bonnet you have there, Catherine. Oh, you're so sweet. There's something in my eye. Okay. The joys of contacts. Alright. And you have only just noticed it after our extended acquaintance? No. Thank you. Yours is quite lovely, too. She's not wearing a bonnet. I hope you won't mind, but I have news about the ball we were discussing last time, and I simply cannot contain it to myself. Oh, please do tell me what Mr. Ashcroft has said. In short, my elder brother has not only agreed to holding the ball at Thornley, but also to inviting his circles from London to attend. Yo! If you do not deign to present at London, then we will ensure London is present. Or his exact words. Oh, I didn't finish it. This is marvelous news, Ellie. I am so happy for you. I have reassured you you had nothing to worry about. Your brother loves you dearly and wishes to see you happy. Oh, to have the London Society here. There will be so much to do, so much to prepare. We must start immediately. Yes, I am so very pleased. It is all such a relief not to present at court, for all the rules and nerves would surely make me ill. And that would not do at all. You need not exert yourself so. There's something to be said about age-old customs. No. It warms me to know you are so happy and that Mr. Ashcroft is such an attentive and obliging brother. Truth be told, I have always thought he would make an attentive and obliging husband if he were ever to marry. Oh, Catherine, how my mind is abuzz with thoughts about the ball. Thank you for being so obliging. Do not jest so, dear Ellie. You know how much I love attending balls. There will be a great deal to do. It is entirely my pleasure to see you so bright with happiness. You and Ellie spend the rest of the walk discussing possibilities for decorating the ballroom at Thornley, as well as the potential ball gowns Ellie might wear. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. So says Master Shakespeare. Where am I missing? Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's at least get to like 60. Drawing room conversations with Mr. Ashcroft. Ellie has invited you to dinner, after which you find yourself conversing alone with Mr. Ashcroft in the drawing room. Mr. Ashcroft sits comfortably in his usual chair, in a rare picture of contentment. Dinner was absolutely wonderful. You indulged me so, Mr. Ashcroft. I must thank you once again for your continued kindness, Mr. Ashcroft. You are a dear friend indeed. And here we are again, Mr. Ashcroft. I do hope you shan't tire of my company. I assure you that is not possible. I suppose Ellie has informed you about her upcoming ball? You do not look surprised. I dare say I have long suspected your involvement. Indeed, you have my utmost admiration for consenting to her wishes. Oh, I could feign surprise if you would so wish. I would wish you to feign nothing, Miss Fairfield. Truth be told, I was quite relieved when she brought me her proposition. I think it would be good for Ellie to make her societal debut, but I have always been anxious that she might be too reserved to wish it. In this, I do believe you must take full credit, Miss Fairfield. She has never been so bold or confident until the day she met you. I am more than glad to be of service, Mr. Ashcroft. Your sister is dear to me, and I am honored to have seen her growing in confidence. Surely I'm not to take all the credit. You have done well to nurture and love her in the absence of any parental figures. I do, however, wonder if I might trespass on your kindness in your time once more. That would depend on the nature of your trespassing. Just the once? Surely you would wish to do it several more times. Oh, ow, ow. Of course, Mr. Ashcroft. What would you have me do? I confess that I have never hosted a ball. My housekeeper has advised me on several things, but I would prefer it if someone could oversee the preparations. I know this may be a little too much to ask, but might you consent to providing your assistance? Oops. I had expected you to make such a proposition, Mr. Ashcroft. I could hardly imagine you making a habit of hosting balls. It is not much to ask at all. I'm so pleased you have asked me, for there are a few things I love more than balls. Only a few things? They must be few and tremendous indeed. There is also the matter of Eleanor's gown. I know even less about women's fashion than I do about ball arrangements. Of course, I would love to help Ellie with her gown. Oh, it will be absolutely marvelous. Thank you, Miss Fairfield, for being so accommodating. I am very much in your debt for such a large number of things. Let us not think of them as debts, but as displays of affection. You might wish to check your words. I would happily do this and so much more. Mr. Ashcroft smiles gently, holding her gaze for several heartbeats. It is getting late, Miss Fairfield. We'd best see you home for tonight. Points. Edmund Bertram's proposal. I only entreat everybody to believe that exactly at the time when it was quite blank that it should be so, not a week earlier, Edmund did cease to care about Miss Crawford and become anxious to marry Fanny as Fanny herself could desire. Natural. Fanny, the weakest of all of Jane Austen's heroines. Give me the points! Which of the following Jane Austen's leading male characters is a clergyman? Tell me. Take the waters at Bath. An accomplished lady. What was not an essential mark of an accomplished Regency lady? Right. Okay. That one tripped me up for a moment. Wait, back. Okay. Okay. We're doing good now. Ellie's ball gown. You have agreed to assist Ellie in acquiring a gown for her ball. She has made a few choices and wishes to obtain your opinion on them. Catherine, I am so excited about this. Mr. Murray has been most solicitous in sending me sketches of the latest designs, a few of which I have become quite fond. I thought you might be able to advise me if you heard what he has to say about my choices. Oh yes, I've been trying to imagine the designs all week. Let us go and visit him immediately. You and Ellie enter Mr. Murray's shop. As promised, Mr. Murray discusses each of Ellie's chosen designs at length, occasionally making suggestions about an adjustment that would better suit Ellie. After a good hour of exchanging thoughts and revisions, Ellie finally settles on a particular design. Mr. Murray smiles approvingly and suggests you visit Mr. Mortimer's haberdashery to decide on a color. You both thank Mr. Murray and leave his shop with a promise of informing him about Ellie's fabric decisions. Well, I suppose Mr. Mortimer does have the largest and most beautiful selection of fabrics in Darlington. Perhaps it is time to confront your fears. I truly believe you'll be stronger for it. Do not be so distressed, dear Ellie. I will remain at your side and give you all the support you need. We do not have to go. There are plenty of other places afoot. We could order fabric selections from London, which would offer far greater choice. Let us visit Mr. Mortimer's haberdashery. Perhaps we will encounter the father and not the son. As you enter Mr. Mortimer's haberdashery, you remember the first time you encountered Ellie. Although there is still an air of fragility around her, Ellie has become infinitely more confident. However, it appears that the shop is being manned by the younger Mr. Mortimer. He is visibly disconcerted when he notices your combined presence. Miss Fairfield, Miss Ashcroft, how may I be of assistance today? The lovely Miss Ashcroft is holding a debutante ball and requires some fabric for her gown. We are here to decide on a fabric for a ball gown. Could you please show us your selection? Remain silent, allow Ellie to speak for herself. Hesitantly, good day, Mr. Mortimer. I wish to select something for a ball gown, which is to be subdued but elegant. Might you show me what is suitable? Ah, a ball gown. Yes, we have some fabrics that would do quite nicely. I shall bring a selection for you. As Mr. Mortimer presents his goods, Ellie gradually begins to relax. Soon she begins to obtain opinions and make decisions in a manner of a confident young lady, never again to be intimidated. Oh, I'm so proud of her. When you finally leave the shop, Ellie is smiling brightly, both from the pleasure of having made her selections and from her own achievements. Thank you, Catherine. Truly, I am infinitely grateful for your support. So good. How dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge, and how much happier that man is who believes his native town to be the world's than he who appears to be greater than his will allow. Nature. A letter. Marcus Ashcroft. Ooh! Dear Miss Fairfield, I hope you are well. I have not been too tired from assisting Ellie with her upcoming ball. I confess I felt a great sense of relief when you had accepted the responsibility of preparing a young girl to enter society. I cannot think of anyone better suited to the task. Once again, you have my deepest gratitude. As such, I thought you might perhaps like to escape the stress of organizing, if only for a day. It has been a while since we have ridden together, and if you will allow me, I would very much like to accompany you to Rowan's Edge once more. I know I certainly need some peace and quiet after the onslaught of business from the drapers and the haberdashers, and I sincerely hope you might indulge me in my request. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Yours, Marcus Ashcroft. Okay. Year. Those are colors. I'm just like farming points right now, but I can never remember where I've been. Okay. Ah! How did that happen? Okay. A visitor! You've been out for a walk. Upon returning home, you are greeted by a familiar figure. The kitty cat. Upon returning home, you are surprised to find Lord Fat Cat awaiting you in your drawing room. Beside him is a cloth doll with its arm falling off. Oh dear, that poor doll seems to be in an unhappy state. Why, Lord Fat Cat, have you brought me another gift? What are you doing with that filthy thing? Lord Fat Cat nods gravely. The doll was involved in a horrible accident, which was witnessed by the doll's best friend, a baker's little girl. Lord Fat Cat nudges the doll towards you, then tilts his head in the direction of where you keep your sewing kit. You are such a generous soul, Lord Fat Cat, to care so much about the less fortunate. You don't need to ask twice, it'll be good as new in no time. Lord Fat Cat purrs happily. He knew he had not misjudged your skills in needlework. You make quick but careful work of the job and even reinforce some of the older stitches. Once you have sewn the arm back on, Lord Fat Cat gives you a nod of uttermost approval and bounds off with the doll. He is indeed the champion of the little people. So sweet. No man is an blank entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. I remember what it is now. Take me a moment. Oops, wrong one. Okay. No man is an island. Riding with Mr. Ashcroft. You join Mr. Ashcroft on a ride to Rowan's Edge. Miss Fairfield, you are quite lovely today. Thank you, Mr. Ashcroft. If I remember correctly, you prefer Zephyr. I have had her saddled, but if I have been mistaken, I am surprised you have remembered. That is very kind of you. Whatever. Mr. Ashcroft helps you onto the mounting block and makes sure you are well seated before approaching his own steed. His own stead? I don't know. Soon, you fall into an easy trot and ride away from Thornley. The ride itself is at a comfortable pace, and you take time to enjoy the vast meadows as you pass them. You reach Rowan's Edge after a leisurely ride. The view is as magnificent as you have remembered. When Mr. Ashcroft helps you dismount, his fingers linger a little longer than necessary. What are men compared to rocks and mountains, right? Isn't that the yeah. Alright. What are men to rocks and mountains? Rowan's Edge. And here we are again. It appears that not much has changed since we were last here. Yes, it has been a while, but it feels like yesterday. Mr. Ashcroft, you appear to have something on your mind. Perhaps it would be best to rid yourself of it. Yes, perhaps you are right. Do you remember the first time we came here? Richard and Ellie went to pick flowers, and I had an opportunity to show you these lands. I had never seen Ellie so happy till that day. Whether it was the fresh air or the return of her brother, she was truly lovely and spirited. Not a day has gone by without my recollections of that afternoon. I remember that you were in the highest of spirits until you were suddenly upset. Not my finest moment. I hope you will not hold that or my other past offenses against me. That moment instigated a change in me, Miss Fairfield. It was when I first realized that you are different, that you are special. For days and weeks afterwards, I contemplated what that realization meant for myself and for my family. I have always thought highly of you, but until then, I had not had... Mr. Ashcroft visibly swallows as he searches for his next words. Miss Fairfield, you are so very dear to me. My feelings for you have only grown since we were last here. My only wish is to love you as my heart desires, and if you'll accept me, then I shall want for nothing else. Are we being proposed to right now? Ever so gently, Mr. Ashcroft takes your hand. His attention has been singularly fixed on you, and as he continues to speak in his soft, low voice, you see the full depth of his bright blue eyes. Miss Fairfield, will you allow me to love you as a man loves his wife? Okay. You have won me with your words and your actions. Yes, I will accept your proposal. Mr. Ashcroft, I am full of such joy. I have loved you these few months, but I dare not presume that you would return my affections. You are greatly mistaken if you think I've ever cared for you as more than a friend. Oh, gosh. Okay, so do we want to say yes? Or we've loved him? Yeah, we have. Miss Fairfield, you have made me happier than I have ever been. Slowly, Mr. Ashcroft brings your hand to his lips where he lays a soft, warm kiss on your bare skin. It's that hand thing again. You remain at Rowan's Edge for a long while, hands intertwined as you both take in the scene before you. Lovely. Oh my gosh, she's engaged! Her spirits wanted the solitude and silence which only numbers would give. We just had this one. That's it. All right. I need points now more than ever. Colonel Brandon's confession. What is the... Oh, profession? So why did I read confession? What is the profession of Marion Dashwood's romantic interest in Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility? He was a naval officer, if I remember right. No? What was he? Wasn't he an officer of some sort? Wait. No. I was thinking of another guy. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't pay attention to me. Oops. I pressed too quickly. Okay. Alright. So, first things first. Let's spend our points. Okay. And then let's tell our mother that we're engaged. Catherine, my girl, why have you not spoken about your long-standing relationship with Mr. Ashcroft? Well, you didn't approve of him. It is my business and I had not needed to discuss it with you, though I suppose I do have some news for you now. Long-standing, how you exaggerate so. I have some news for you regarding the matter, if you would listen. Dear Mama, I had not wished to presume, but I have something to tell you if you would take a seat. The only answer I wish to hear is that you have accepted Mr. Ashcroft's marriage proposal. Oh, Mama, I have, and I am so very happy, though I do wonder, how did you know? Then you should hear the answer you wish. Could you perhaps tell me how you knew? Catherine, I am so relieved. Yes, you will be such a happy match, and the envy of the town. Mr. Ashcroft called upon me this morning, and, oh, I was afraid you would reject him. Oh, I was so hoping. I didn't say anything, but I was hoping that he got permission, just because, like, this whole thing has been kind of a crazy situation, so I would never. I have very strong feelings for him, and it is wonderful to know they are reciprocated. No, we didn't consider. Yes, that is all well and fine, but think of it, the mistress of Thornley. Oh, but I must write to all our friends and relatives about your good news. This is a wonderful day indeed. She's so happy. I got no points from that. A letter from Eleanor Ashcroft. Dear Catherine, oh, I am so pleased to have heard of your wonderful news that I do not know what to write. You have always been such a good friend to me, and it is so delightful to know how happy you and my elder brother will be. I am sure I will see you soon, but for now I simply cannot contain my joy. Oh, to think you will soon be my sister, both in name and in temperament. Yours, Ellie. Ah! A family of 10 children will always be called a something family, where there are heads and arms and legs enough for the number. Fine. It's fine. A fine family, yes. Okay. I'm trying so hard with the points. Here we go. Colonel Brandon's profession. He was Army then. If he wasn't Navy, he was Army. Yes, that's correct. Okay. Somebody else was Navy. Captain Wentworth was Navy. Oh, there we go. He was... Yes, he did quite well for himself in the Napoleonic Wars. Okay. Points. Doing super good. All right, let's go walking with Mr. Ashcroft. Mr. Ashcroft has invited you for a quiet stroll in the woods. Miss Fairfield, I am so happy to see you. And I you, Mr. Ashcroft. I remember a time, perhaps not so long ago, when we were here with Ellie. You were so good with her back then, as you are now. Yes, she was rather flighty and supremely shy. How she has changed since then. I do hope your affection for me is not simply on your sister's behalf. I am not so inclined to dull... Oh, no. How things have changed indeed. As you walk, you approach an area that has not dried from last night's rain. The path is a little muddy and quite slippery. Miss Fairfield, would it... Offers his arm. Would you allow me to do this small service? Whatever. Take his arm. Upon your touch, you hear a soft sigh from Mr. Ashcroft. He smiles at you, and you continue to walk. Indeed, I believe it was right this spot where we first met, though I do not expect you to recall. Oh, were you the gentleman on horseback for whom I had stepped aside? On the contrary, I vividly remember that morning. You were astride Atlas, and wearing a brown coat, I believe. Yes, I was. I am a little surprised you remember such details. It was a pleasant day, and I had thought you lovely and sensible in both your attire and manner. I confess I had wondered who you were, and what you might have been like. It is my great fortune that you are kinder and more beautiful than I could have imagined. Goodness me, how you are sentimental. Oh my gosh. Mr. Ashcroft, I hope you will not take it badly if I say that surely you are the sweetest man I have the pleasure of knowing. Aw, Miss Fairfield, if it is not too presumptuous of me. My God, you are so very lovely. Mr. Ashcroft gently cuffs your cheek, his thumb stroking your skin. Oh, that's sweet. Let's look into his eyes. For a long moment, you feel his warm breath dance upon your lips before it is replaced by the warmth of his mouth. The kiss is long and chaste, but you are both slightly breathless when you part. Catherine, dear, Mr. Ashcroft smiles at you, his eyes bright as a cloudless sky. You walk on in silence, arm in arm, as the birds sing their afternoon song. Aw, they're in love. Nope, it was a boarding school. For sure, boarding school. I was wrong. Oh, man. I have no idea. Oh my gosh, I can sense the end coming, and I'm so far from 100. Ellie's debutante ball. The evening of Ellie's debutante ball has finally arrived. You and your mother are immediately greeted by Mr. Ashcroft upon your arrival. As you have previously decided, you are the first guests for the evening. Miss Fairfield, welcome to Thornley. It is a pleasure to have you here. You are very kind, Mr. Ashcroft. Very kind indeed. And Miss Ashcroft, you look marvelous. Oh, look at her. She looks so pretty. Thank you, Mrs. Fairfield, though the credit goes to Miss Fairfield. Nonsense. Catherine may have played a small part, but your achievements are your own. Mrs. Fairfield, would you allow me to give you a tour of Thornley? Yes, I would be delighted. Catherine, I suppose you and Miss Ashcroft have a lot to discuss. When Mama and Mr. Ashcroft have disappeared from earshot, Ellie turns to you excitedly. Oh, Catherine, it is so good to have you here. I have been wrought with nerves since yesterday, and I do not know if I can manage with all our guests. Dear Ellie, you need not be so nervous. You will be in company of friends who all wish you the very best. You will manage even if it is to become... you will manage even if it is because you must. Truly, you look wonderful. You would do splendidly tonight. Yes, thank you, Catherine. Oh, the guests will be arriving soon. It will be such a long evening. Okay. You managed to find Mary just before the next gavotte begins. Finally, Catherine, I thought you would be dancing with your new fiancé. Perhaps a little later. There are so many things to see in the meantime. Oh, I wish to, but alas, I keep being stopped by words of congratulations. You know, that would be severely imprudent. I would be obliged to dance with at least a few other guests. Then allow me to add mine to your collection. I had suspected there was quite a deal of affection between you and Mr. Ashcroft that surpassed that of mere friendship. Truth be told, that is only true for his side. I do not love him. Whoa, no. Yes, we are both so very happy. Oh, Mary, if only you were to experience the same joy I have found. I suppose there was never... Oh, let's see if she's got anything in her love life. But it is so good to know that you will soon be happily settled, and to think that you will marry before me. Perhaps if I continue to dance, it will be more likely for me to secure a husband. Miss Fairfield, you are quite spectacular this evening, second only to my dear sister, though I suppose you will soon be my sister too. Indeed I will, though I'm not yet decided on whether I shall referee your squabbles or join them. Mr. Richard, you are quite remarkable too, second only to your dear brother. Well, I would not fault you for saying that. I think I am obliged to share at least one dance with you, Miss Fairfield. Will you do me the honor? Of course. You dance with Mr. Richard, who is a pleasant partner and rather light on his feet. Thank you for obliging me, Miss Fairfield, though heaven knows what you thought about your partner. Ah, Mr. Richard, you have no reason to doubt yourself. Your words and your manners mark you every bit a gentleman. Thank you, Miss Fairfield. You must allow me to say then, that as a gentleman, I am very much in your debt. But if we are to be family soon, then I suppose we should start referring to each other by our Christian names. It would be strange to think of you as Mrs. Ashcroft. Fine idea, Richard. Indeed, Catherine. And now I shall seek out my dear sister, if you would excuse me, Catherine. That's nice. Oh, those are, Mary's little sisters. Go on, Harriet. You should dance. Mary has not stopped since the first began. Hush, Lettice. You know I have not been asked. Oh, and there is Catherine. Ah, Miss Fairfield, to think you are to soon be married. What a thought. I believe congratulations are in order. Thank you, Mr. Elward. I am definitely talking to a female child. Yes, and to be married before dear Mary. I hope she won't take it too hard. Catherine, are we to call you Mrs. Ashcroft? My dear Lettice, I hope I'll always be Catherine to you. Congratulations, Catherine. I hope you'll be happy. Oh, and do ask us to visit Thornley again when you are mistress. Say you invite us, dear Catherine. Of course, you and your sisters will be welcome any time. This is happy news indeed, and I believe you had a hand in organizing this ball. You have become quite the talented lady, dear Miss Fairfield. I did wish to enlist Mary's help, for she would have been absolutely splendid, but Miss Ashcroft seemed too harried for me to make the suggestion. I hope Mary will forgive me. Thank you, Mrs. Earlwood. I must say that Mary has been a great influence. I believe she was the first to have taught me about the importance of proper drapes. Speaking of Mary, I know she has been quite delighted by your news. Do take a moment to speak to her if you are able to catch her between dances. Oh, I've already spoken to her. Miss Fairfield, please allow me to offer you my congratulations. You are very kind, Mr. Curtis. I believe you are to praise for this evening's decorations and entertainment. Mr. Ashcroft has spoken very highly of your organizational skills amongst your other qualities. Mr. Ashcroft is exaggerating. I have simply assisted a little, but he has done most of the work. I see. Two equally humble souls. You will either live in perfect peace and contentment or be perpetually frustrated with accidentally outdoing each other. I hope it will be the former. In any case, I am happy that Mr. Ashcroft has found himself a companion. I wish you two well. But alas, we are speaking of your engagement instead of tonight's true purpose. Miss Ashcroft is a lovely young lady, and she has held herself remarkably well this evening. Why, Miss Fairfield, you are looking absolutely splendid this evening. There is such a glow to your cheeks, too. Mr. Worthington, you are complimenting her on the wrong thing. My dear Miss Fairfield, allow us to offer our congratulations for your happy news. You and Mr. Ashcroft are a good match. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Worthington, for your kindness all these years. I'm so happy to have such good friends with whom to share my joy. Yes, I do hope we will be. Once we have settled, you are more than welcome to visit us again. It is so remarkable to see such a transformation in the young Miss Ashcroft. She is quite the picture of health and happiness. Such a delightful young lady indeed. And Miss Fairfield, I hope you will not mind if I bring up the subject of Mr. Ashcroft's other relations. We all love Mr. Richard dearly and want the very best for him. He is such a bright and charming man and is full of promise. It is truly good to see you in such high spirits, dear Miss Fairfield. I hope you will allow yourself to enjoy the evening. Miss Fairfield? Oh, do I need to talk to Ellie first? Miss Fairfield, how do you do? Have I exhausted everything? Oh, okay. Just before the final dance is announced, you see Ellie take a deep breath and walking towards the head of the ballroom. One by one, the other guests notice and begin to quiet. Her voice is clear and confident, growing louder as she speaks. My dear friends, I wish to thank you for attending tonight's ball. I am so very pleased to have you here and to share my debut into society with you all. I believe most, if not all of you, have already heard the happy news that has happened to coincide with this event, but I wish to announce it all the same, as the tidings bring me great delight. My eldest brother has become engaged to my dearest friend, Miss Catherine Fairfield. They both bring me so much happiness that I am infinitely pleased that they will find joy with each other. As you may know, my dear brother is the gentlest, kindest brother one could have. Having grown up under his guidance and protection, I have always considered myself more fortunate than other children. That's so sweet. She's so sweet. To him, I am infinitely grateful. When I first met Miss Fairfield, she had come to my rescue during a misunderstanding. Since then, she has been a constant source of comfort and support, and my esteem for her rivals that for my brother. To her, I am also grateful. I confess, I had hoped that these two wonderful people, so important in my life, would grow in affection and regard for each other. Now that this is so, I wish nothing but the very best for them both. I know you are here to honor my entering into society. In turn, I wish to honor the newly engaged Mr. Ashcroft and Miss Fairfield, and I hope you would join me in toasting to their happiness. To Mr. Ashcroft and Miss Fairfield. The abundance of guests speak as one, their glasses high in the air. And with that, I wish to invite Mr. Ashcroft to lead the last dance, and for Miss Fairfield to take my place at his side. Ellie smiles at you and gives you an encouraging nod. You glance over at Mr. Ashcroft, whose expression has softened. He holds your gaze, eyes bright and steady. Mr. Ashcroft finds his way to you and gently takes your hand. At his cue, the other dancers line up after you, some offering Mr. Ashcroft their congratulations. Mr. Ashcroft only nods at them politely, but absently. His attention is fixed on you, through his eyes, his hands, and the soft curve of his lips. The band strikes the first chord, and together you dance. Oh, that was it! Okay. Epilogue. As the years pass, Mr. Ashcroft remains grateful to you for your assistance in bringing both Richard and himself to their senses. You and Ellie share a particularly close bond, and in time she begins to seek counsel above that of her brothers. After becoming Mrs. Ashcroft, you begin to take your interest in drawing and painting a little more seriously and are always working on a new project. Ellie is always delighted by your creations, and Mr. Ashcroft soon transforms a room at Thornley into your personal gallery. Whether or not the weather permits, you and Mr. Ashcroft enjoy riding into the countryside. At such times, you both reminisce about your courtship, and you once again feel the extent of his respect and admiration for your horsemanship. On the first anniversary of your marriage, Mr. Ashcroft gifts you with a beautiful mare who responds to your slightest touch. At the core of Mr. Ashcroft's affection for you is his respect for your uncompromising sense of duty. Indeed, your husband returns your loyalty with equal devotion, a fact that he conveys every morning with the soft look in his eyes. Well, that's lovely. I'm glad that they live happily ever after. Finn, T for 3. Woohoo! Save. Okay, cool. Awesome! Well, that was the Ashcroft, Mr. Marcus Ashcroft storyline of Regency Love. So that was really fun. What did you guys think? Did you guys like Mr. Ashcroft? He was very Mr. Darcy-esque. So that was very fun. But there are other storylines in this game that I didn't touch at all or barely touched. So, yeah, like, for example, here we go. Okay, so 32. Oh, yes. Okay. So next, we need to decide if we're going to try to have a relationship for our next character. Different character, not the same girl. We have, Demetrius J. Curtis. He's 39. Wow, okay. So he's our other option, or Mr. Graham, who is 24. Okay, all right. I didn't realize that they had their ages here. Oh, and there's also Mr. Digby. Okay. So, anyway, who do you guys want to have like a character date next? Should we have Mr. Curtis, Mr. Graham, or, God forbid, Mr. Digby? Maybe I'll end with Mr. Digby. Like, maybe I'll get everything out of the way, and then we'll have a just for fun where we just ruin everything and have to have Mr. Digby. Because that would be funny. Wow. Look at all of these characters. Okay, so anyway, there you go. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week, same time, same place. And hopefully you guys have already, I'm gonna put a poll in the live chat. So if you're watching this live, then that should have already shown up and you guys should already have voted. But if you haven't voted, please vote and let me know if you want me to go after Mr. Curtis or Mr. Graham next. They were both really good stories. So we'll see. And if you're not watching this live and you just want to toss some ideas out there, you can leave those in the comments. But if it's before my next, as long as it's before my next episode, but if it's after my next episode, then I'm sorry, you lose. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!